Hi, Senator.
Down here.
How are you?
Melrose.
Nice to see you.
All set?
Is he going to be a full-time grad?
So what?
Is he going to be a full-time grad?
I am. I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here as we continue to celebrate Climate Week here in Massachusetts. I'm Beth Card. I'm the Secretary of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and I'm just wonderful to be here with all of you as we celebrate the clean energy accomplishments of communities across the Commonwealth and highlight the incredibly good work of our cities and towns and all that you do to reduce your energy consumption and ensure cleaner and healthier communities across Massachusetts. Since taking office in 2015, the Baker-Polito administration has made it a top priority, perhaps the top priority, to partner with cities and towns across Massachusetts to help problem solve and ensure that the needs of the public that we serve are met. Our Green Communities program is a shining example of that partnership. Together, we have worked to decrease our community's carbon footprints, reduce municipal energy use, and advance clean energy technologies. Cost-effective energy reduction and clean energy initiatives not only lower emissions, but also decrease costs. A win-win for all of us. We are so grateful to all of our local officials for their efforts to adopt innovative clean energy measures, and we are proud of the incredible participation, 280 communities statewide that are participating in our green communities in Massachusetts. So 79%, we're almost all the way there. So it's a real credit to all of the work that you all do. During the Baker-Polito administration, more than
87% of the population. Just for the heck of it, I think you should let them know that.
The governor would like you to know that that's 87% of the population here in Massachusetts. So, pretty important fact. During the Baker-Polito administration, more than $120 million in grant funding has been awarded to the Commonwealth's cities and towns through designation and competitive grant rounds. It is estimated that nearly 66,000 metric tons of emissions were avoided through projects funded by Green Communities grants. Massachusetts is a national leader in energy efficiency and clean energy, and that is in huge part to the leadership and commitment from Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito. And so it is my privilege and honor to introduce someone who really knows his facts, Governor Charlie Baker.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Secretary, and it's nice to see all of you, and it's especially nice to see some folks at a school. I actually have not had a chance. I have a whole bunch of schools I'm scheduled to visit this year, but you're the first of this new school season, so you get to say you're number one. I do want to thank the mayor for having us here today, and I also want to thank you for your leadership when you were a member of the legislature, along with our other colleagues from the legislature, because none of this happens without their support and their encouragement and their investments as we develop budgets on both the operating and the capital side. I do want to say that we do believe partnerships with our colleagues in local government matter. In fact, the Municipal Vulnerability Planning Program, which is an adaptation and resiliency program associated with climate change, is something that we've been pursuing on a voluntary basis with our colleagues in local communities since we took office, and the legislature has kindly supported the resources that were required to do both the vulnerability planning and to make investments in solving the resiliency and vulnerability issues that were raised by those planning exercises. And I think of the 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts, I think 342 of them or something, 341.
Yep.
And that is over 90% of the population.
It's 97%.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Are actually deeply involved in this, which has been a great thing for the Commonwealth and a great thing, of course, for our cities and towns. I do want to say how much we appreciate the involvement of the 280 communities that are currently participating in this program. Today's grant announcements, which come on top of the previous announcements that were mentioned by the Secretary, are another $6 million in grants to 51 green communities across Massachusetts. The city of Melrose will be receiving $500,000 for work to decarbonize its library as it undergoes a renovation and addition project. And we believe that all of the, I'm sure you're going to talk about this, Mayor, but all of the projects that have been implemented over the course of many years here in Melrose have prevented about 661 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent in emissions, which is a real tribute to the people of this community. I also want to say that to give people some idea about what kinds of projects we're talking about, air source heat pumps, hybrid police cruisers, battery electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging stations, which I'm thinking you're probably going to talk a little bit about, ventilation system upgrades, high efficiency lighting, and energy management systems at municipal buildings and facilities. This is in many respects one of the most important things we do in conjunction with our colleagues in local government, and I think in many ways it's also one way we get everybody involved in this process and stay involved with them over time as we continue to do the really important work that we do here in Massachusetts on these issues. The final thing I'll say is that we do have a 2035 and a 2050 goal with respect to carbon. I believe Massachusetts, which has met every goal it's set for itself so far in this exercise, will continue to do so going forward, because here in Massachusetts we all believe there's work to do here and there's a ton of agreement on what needs to get done. And with that, I will pass the baton to the mayor.
Thank you very much, Governor. It's delightful to welcome you back to Melrose. I do want to take a moment to thank the folks from DCR who handle a lot of the logistics when you go from the tallest person in government to the shortest person in government, from speaker to speaker. It's no easy task. And Governor, you're obviously, you're going to be a tough act to follow. I don't mean that you need to rush. But first, my name is Paul Broder. I am happy to welcome you all here to the city of Melrose. We are delighted and proud to host today's announcement and honored to have Governor Baker and his administration here with us today. I want to thank the partnership between the Baker-Polito administration and cities and towns has been extraordinary. I say this as a lifelong Democrat that is very much a believer in making progress, and that is how we measure our success. And as a member of the legislature back in the day, and with my successor and my former colleague with me as well, I will speak a little bit on their behalf to say what we pride ourselves on here in Massachusetts, both at the state to city level and within the state government, is bipartisanship, is measuring things by what have we gotten done, what have we done to help the people of Massachusetts to advance, particularly in this case, attacking climate change, moving forward on resiliency. These are the critical issues of the day, and the Baker-Polito administration has really been an extraordinary partner in this respect, as have my colleagues from throughout Massachusetts on the municipal level. So this is Melrose's 7th Green Communities grant since our designation in 2010, and we are very pleased to be awarded this $500,000 for the renovation and decarbonization of this building behind me, an Andrew Carnegie Library. The original structure here was built in 1904. So as you might imagine, it is not, in terms of energy efficiency and climate technology, it is not a particularly advanced facility, and it is sometimes a little bit daunting to think about how far we have to move. And that's why this money is a critical addition to our effort to move this building and this project forward. So what do I mean by that? Well, the project in and of itself is a state and local partnership where the Mass Board of Library Commissioners program, I know there's some folks here today that I'm very grateful for their presence and their ongoing support of our project, provide a grant of almost $9 million to help move this project forward, a very dramatic renovation. This $500,000 is on top of that. We got $2 million from our Library Board of Trustees, which is essentially a private entity that supported us as well, and a substantial investment from the city, from the taxpayers itself. And I would note that many members of our city council are here today, and they unanimously supported this investment. We're very grateful for their partnership and their advocacy as well. So what are we going to do? We're going to shut off the natural gas to this building. We're going to make it all electric with some high-performance building envelope measures. There will be electric vehicle charging stations on site and a solar-ready roof. Now, electrification will assist the city in its efforts, again, to decontinue fossil fuels and, as the governor mentioned, reach our own net zero goals, because like the Commonwealth, Melrose is committed to being carbon neutral, net zero by 2050, and we literally just last night had a presentation before the City Council about the specifics of that plan and what we need to do to move forward. Again, it's all about building on success. As the governor mentioned, and you probably all know about it because it's been marvelously well publicized, is our progress in EV charging, electric vehicle charging, in partnership, again, a public-private partnership with National Grid to locate in Melrose pole-mounted vehicle chargers that make it a lot easier for electric vehicle access to expand, because we all hear about range anxiety and where am I going to charge the vehicle. Well, 2 points on that. Here in Melrose, there's a lot of places to charge, and a little bit of an editorial comment. Range anxiety is a little bit of an interesting thing, because a good electric vehicle can now go about 300 miles. And I don't know about y'all, but I mean, granted, I work a half mile from my house, but the last time I got in a car and went 300 miles was a long, long, long time ago. So what we do here matters. And to have Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, the legislature, and our local government officials partner with so many folks, including our residents in the Energy Commission, has been a real step forward. Finally, I do want to acknowledge the folks on my staff, who should really be up here speaking, but that is not the way the world works with these kind of things. And that is our sustainability manager, who started in Melrose at the beginning of the Green Communities Act as an, I think, energy manager, Martha Grover, who's done unbelievable work. Every single project over the last 12 years has Martha's fingerprints on it. And if you aren't an environmentalist, that's fine. I respectfully disagree. But if you're a budget person, if you're a dollars and cents person, you should understand that these projects pay dividends. They make it easier for us to deliver affordable services to the residents of Melrose. Certainly our planning office, including Denise Gaffey and her staff, have been outstanding with this project and many other projects along the way. And I would certainly be remiss if I didn't mention Linda Gardner, our library director, and her staff for making this happen, for transporting a library a couple blocks away, for making sure service was uninterrupted during COVID and today and into the future, having yard sales, planning fundraisers, everything that goes along with supporting, maintaining, and growing the library as a community resource and as a community center. So for everyone that has been involved in this great day and everything that led up to it, I want to thank you very much for coming. And I will now turn it over to my good friend and colleague in the legislature, State Rep Kate Lippert-Garabedian. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor Broder, and thank you to the Governor and Secretary for being with us today. If I might just have a moment of personal privilege. The last time I saw the Governor, we had to stand on a staircase about 6 feet apart. We weren't masked at the time because it was at the beginning of the last 30 months that we've had. So it's a pleasure to be with you today in a very different environment to celebrate such a tremendous opportunity for our city and for the Commonwealth, and to do it in front of one of the cornerstones of our city here, the public library, which has been so meaningful for so many of our families and individuals. And to hear the words from the Governor, the Secretary, the Mayor just resonates with me. This is such a prime example of collaboration across so many different levels of government, of democratically elected officials and the people who work with them, working in one direction together to make a real difference in what is truly an existential crisis for our Commonwealth and the world. It also demonstrates to me the ways in which we break down silos across the work that we do. This is an investment that we're making with local dollars, with private dollars, and with state dollars, not only for the infrastructure of our city, but also for our climate resiliency goals. And so you can see how in one fell swoop we're making such a difference, and it's such a great honor to get to stand here with you all today. The legislature has been so pleased to support this initiative through our budgeting process. We've also, in my short time, passed 2 incredible climate bills that demonstrate the Commonwealth's leadership nationally in this fight against climate change. And so I'm grateful for all of the hard work of the administration, to my colleagues like Senator Lewis in the legislature, and to all the people who I'm looking out today who've played a real role. The City Council for supporting this measure, so many people at City Hall and here in this building who've made a real difference. So glad to celebrate with you today and look forward to many more events like this to come. And maybe turning it back over to turning it over to Senator Lewis.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm State Senator Jason Lewis. I want to join Mayor Broder and Representative Kate Lippert-Garabedian in welcoming Governor Baker and Secretary Card to Melrose today on this very happy occasion to celebrate the latest round of Green Communities grants. These grants are as a result of legislation that was passed by the state legislature back in 2008, the Green Communities Act, and signed into law by then Governor Deval Patrick. And that really made, along with some other laws at that time, like the Global Warming Solutions Act, really made Massachusetts a national and even a global leader when it comes to combating climate change and helping our communities prepare for the impacts of climate change. And I know we are all so proud that we live in a place where we work together to address this existential challenge, whether we're Democrats or Republicans, whether we're in the legislature or the executive branch, whether we're in state government or local government, or whether we're in an environmental group or some other stakeholder. That has really been a hallmark of our efforts for the last 2 decades now to respond to climate change and also to seize the opportunities that climate change represents for us in terms of building a new green economy. You don't have to look any further than the offshore wind energy industry that is growing off the shores of Massachusetts. Specifically the Green Communities Program, I'm really proud to represent 2 of the communities that were really early adopters of this program. One is Melrose, right here, and the other is my hometown of Winchester. I also represent 2 communities that are 2 of the few that have not joined the program yet, and I have nagged them for years to join the program, Wakefield and Reading, and that's actually because they are served by municipal light plants, not investor-owned utilities. And unfortunately, that has been a challenge. I'm very pleased to say, though, we are overcoming that. Wakefield has applied to join the program and will hopefully be accepted soon. And Reading, which is served by a multi-unit MLP system, Representative Brand Jones and I actually filed bipartisan legislation, which is passed both the House and Senate, which will enable communities like that, there are several others, to also join the Green Communities Program, hopefully in the near future. So hopefully the next time we have a ceremony, we'll be at 100%, right, and 100% of the population, because every single town and city needs to participate and also stands to benefit from this funding. So in conclusion, I also want to echo what the mayor and the representative and everybody else said in terms of congratulating the whole team here in Melrose I want to also congratulate the City Council, the library trustees, all of the staff who've worked on this. The library itself is a very exciting project. We may have some members of the Board of Library trustees with us today, right? And we should give a shout out to, that's another state agency that has partnered, again, this is a state-local partnership with the City of Melrose to enable the renovation of this wonderful public resource. It is also, I think, special and appropriate that we're doing this ceremony here today because in addition to being Climate Week, it's also, I believe, Banned Books Week as well. And so very appropriate that we are celebrating this occasion here at the Melrose Public Library. It's a pleasure to be with you all today, and thank you.
Thank you all. And just in closing, I just want to say again how much we value and appreciate all of the local partnerships. I want to offer my heartfelt congratulations to the 51 cities and towns across Massachusetts who are receiving grants today, the over $6 million that are going to continue to help us make these important investments across the Commonwealth, mitigating and investing in renewable energy as well as preparing for opportunities to be more resilient and to adapt to climate change across Massachusetts is an all hands on deck proposition, but we are on our way to meeting our goals of net zero by 2050 and doing all that we can together to make all of this a better place for future generations. And I want to especially thank our young friends who joined us today for all of your good work, and thank you for listening and hearing us today. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Congratulations and enjoy the rest of Climate Week. Thanks, everybody. Just, yeah. I'll let you tell me.